very much. You know, it's like the runner's high, or musicians, you know, feeling like they're not playing the music, they're just sort of watching themselves, music coming through them. Yeah, it is a peak experience, you know. I mean, if you say Zen, then people associate it with the mysteries of the East. And, you know, I mean, quite frankly, it's a human potential. You know, whirling dervishes. I mean, you look at, you know, sort of psycho-spiritual practices around the world, like drumming, dancing, repetitive kinds of movement that essentially are creating a state of self-hypnosis. And we're creating a self-hypnotic state of being in the moment in the martial arts. Okay? And what does hypnosis do? But it allows the conscious mind to get out of the way of the unconscious so that there is a deeper communication between the two, you know, without judgment sitting on top, trying to evaluate what's happening. I mean, being self-aware is a good thing. Being self-conscious can be inhibiting. I mean, it's a subtle play on words there. But self-consciousness often comes with the stigmatism of self-judgment, whereas you know, self-awareness, I think I'm trying to imply a higher level of consciousness where you're open and not putting a lot of filters up between yourself. I talked about this a little earlier, that personality is a construct that allows us to interface with reality. And you know, we build up different layers of personality. So, you know, you're a student in class, you're a teacher in another, you know, environment, you're a parent, you know, you're a child, you know, yeah. There's all kinds of different roles that we play in society, and how we act in different roles maybe varies a little bit. And very often we kind of lose sight of who we are at the core as individuals. And when you kind of get into that Zen state, it's like a lot of the baggage of those masks and filters, it falls away, and you're just experiencing, you know, yourself, you know, in the pure moment, which is, you know, not an easy thing to do. I mean, when you get there, you know, you feel a sense of freedom and exhilaration. And the better you get at this, the more those opportunities come along. I mean, someone who's like really finely tuned, you know, they can get into the zone, into the moment very, very quickly. This is why meditation helps. You know, it's a way of clearing the mind of cobwebs, of getting unessential things out of the way, so that we can be more perceptive. And, you know, even if you're only doing like, you know, 10 minutes a day of meditation, it could be anything, just sitting down on a bench, smelling the air, you know, taking time to smell the roses, listen to the sounds around you. What do you see in your environment? What's the temperature of the air? We have all these different modalities, okay? We have sight, sound, you know, tactile, you know, our emotional sense of presence. And you know, the more we allow these things to be a part of our experience, I think the more capable we are in expressing our potential. There's actually a Native American saying, which will be drowned out by the plane for a moment, I heard many, many years ago. And the saying was, we are at our most powerful when we are at our most vulnerable, because that's when we have access to all of ourself. Well, there's a lot more musicians that don't do martial arts, and I've met many musicians who said they would, but they protect their hands. I've also met court reporters say the same thing. They don't dare risk their hands. Even though training safely in Eskrima, you do less damage to your hands probably than doing, you know, say karate. You're certainly not hitting a makawara board. You know? But there are many martial artists who are musicians. So I would say that that is more where the subset would lie. And I think it's because they're creative people. and they enjoy getting together with other creative people and doing fun things. I think it really just boils down to something like that. And of course, there's that element of, martial arts being rhythmic. I've heard there have been famous karate instructors. I'm trying to remember, I think Fumio Demura comes to mind. Could be wrong. One of the questions they would ask a prospective student is, do you like to dance, or do you play a musical instrument? And if the answer is no, they maybe weren't suitable as a student. They were looking for people that already, had a sense of rhythm and an appreciation, for timing, and so, there is a connection there. And of course, when we work out with sticks, we hear the beat of the sticks, we hear the beat of the feet on the ground. Some schools, like Inosanto's Academy and many of its offshoots, they use drumming as a way to, work with their students. And what is the drumming doing? It is creating a semi-hypnotic or a hypnotic state in which the student gets into the flow and connects to the sound and basically gets outside of his ordinary day-to-day routine awareness. And even that's a bit of a misnomer. You wake up in the morning, you're grouchy. Have a cup of coffee, you feel better. Your significant other comes in and gives you a kiss. You feel pretty good. You go out and, in traffic, someone cuts you off, and you're angry again. We go through these are all hypnotic states. Okay? These are all cases of emotion arising and taking over our consciousness. And so, if we learn to be aware of the arise of motion, and then we learn to control or modulate it, you don't want to stifle it. I mean, emotions tell you many things. You have a funny feeling in your gut, maybe that person is following me. I better watch out. It could be a stalker or a mugger. So our emotions, they're tools. But just like the conscious mind, they make a better tool than a master.